Hey there, everybody. So back to our regularly scheduled disembodied hands and video. My last video, I mentioned that I got a suggestion to do ink swatching, like my big squares with my Sailor inks. So that's what we're going to do today. So I've got 7 Sailor inks to show you today, 6 of which I believe are all Sailor Ink Studio. So that's where we're going. So we're going to do these on Tomoe River paper. This is 52 GSM. This is my A6 Hobonichi. The last time I did swatches with these inks, it was on Leuchtturm. So we're going to see how they look on Tomoe River paper. And we'll see where we go from there. So how it's going to go, I'm going to do a little Q-tip swab in each of the squares. And then I will take my trusty dip pen and I will just write the name or the number underneath the ink. And that will be the video, and we'll talk about them for a little bit. First up, we'll do the one non-Sailor Ink Studio. We'll do the Sailor Manyo Haha for funsies. And I will do a better job of not getting the ink mixed up with the boxes, which I made with Diamine Lilac Night. I'll do a better job next time. All right, so that is Sailor Manyo Haha. Currently, I still have this one inked up in my Lamy Studio Glacier. I'm still using that one, and I'll probably use that one until the converter goes dry. It's a really nice match, and it's a really fun ink to play with. I like it because it gives me like Cinderella kind of vibes. I kind of really know. I'm gonna get this better frame here, and we'll zoom in a little bit too. It kind of gives me little Cinderella vibes. You know, you've got the light blue. There's some pink in there. I think there's some green maybe. I really don't know. It's kind of coming through, and as it's drying, there's some really nice undertones to it. And I really like this one. It's far more usable than I would have thought. I'll put it that way. When I first got it, I thought it was going to be a little too light, but for note taking and for my purposes, it's perfectly fine. Next up, we're going to do the next one that I grabbed at random. That is Sailor Ink Studio 252. So this one is another one that I've previously used in my Lamy Glacier. That seems to be my new ink testing one because that's the one that I used in this notebook. And it's this one's an interesting ink because the swatch went down way pinker than it ever does when you're writing it. It's pink, it's gray. I think there's also some green in it. The Sailor Ink Studio inks are just so fascinating. I really can't get enough of them, which is probably why Sailor Ink is 3 out of my 5 pens right now. Sailor Ink, it's on the more premium side for pricing, so it's not great, but I really love using it, and so far I've gotten mostly samples with a couple of bottles. I just love these inks. I don't really know how else to say it. I think they're a lot of fun to work with, just because you never really know what kind of color you're gonna get out of them until you use them. Next up, grabbing at random, Sailor Ink Studio 130. Okay, so some of you may remember this one if you've been around for a while. This one was from my very first fountain pen video on this channel. I inked it up. I bought this ink with my TWSBI Diamond 580 ALR Punch Pink, and this was one that surprised me because I wasn't anticipating using this ink. I thought I was going to use a different one with that pen, but it turned into such a beautiful match for it. I just couldn't not use it, right? So this is a really nice kind of coral pinkish color. This one, for how light it looks in the vial, for how clear it is in the vial, it comes through really nicely on the paper, and you get a lot of that really nice pinkishness. And please ignore the purple bleeding through from the swatch because that's my bad. But yeah, this is another one that I really enjoyed using when I used it, and eventually I swapped it out for another ink, and now that pen is currently in my de-inked collection. It's a very pretty ink, and I'll find a use for it. It's not one that I'm like teaming to get a full bottle of, but it's one that's a lot of fun for me to use when I do use it. So for now, it's sitting in the sample, but it'll get used again someday. All right, let's finish out my pinks. This is actually one that I haven't used. One that I haven't used except for that one swatch that I did. This is Sailor Ink Studio 237. So again, if you've been around for a while, this was the ink that I intended to put in my punch pink when I first got it. This is one that it's more of a dusty rose, kind of like a millennial pink, if you will. On Tomo River paper, it's actually coming out much brighter than it did on the Leuchtturm, which is very interesting to see. Where it's still kind of drying, I can see some color variation, maybe a little bit of green undertones in the pink coming through. So this is actually far more interesting on Tomo River paper than it was on Leuchtturm, which isn't surprising. At the time when I did those first swatches, I didn't have a Tomoe River paper notebook that I wasn't using and wasn't using to its full capacity. And this one, I'm using it for daily notes, but I always have extra pages, so we'll be able to use that for a lot of my ink swatchingness. So this one, hopefully it's coming through. It's really pretty. This 237 is actually something that I now need to, now that I'm seeing it on Tomoe River paper, I really need to pick a pen to put this in. I don't know if I'll put it in the punch pink. I might de-ink something and put it in. But it is very pretty and a much brighter ink than I thought it was originally. So that'll be a lot of fun to play with. All right, the next one is going to be Sailor Ink Studio 264. Again, we're ignoring those the purple seeping through. This one I have also used. Most of these inks, I think the only one that I haven't put in a pen is this 237. 264 at one point was in my Visconti Van Gogh. Yeah, that's about right. And I think it was a marker of my having cleaned the pen and like having cleaned it very quickly. It was far lighter for the first like 3 days or so that I was using it than it's showing up here. This is kind of how it looked after I had let it sit for a little while and any extra water had evaporated. So this one, oh, I'll put it back in frame, shall I? This one, it's like a green leaning teal, best way to put it. Yeah, this one went really nicely in the Visconti. It was fine. It's not anything particularly exciting about it. It was fine. I like these kinds of teals. I think I usually do prefer a darker teal, maybe one that would have a little bit of sheen. But, you know, for what it is, it came as a sample. I got it as a sample, so it's, again, not something that I'm really excited to get as a full bottle. But it's still a lot of fun to play with. Next up, we have the perennial favorite, which is currently in my TWSBI VAC 700R, is Sailor Ink Studio 150. So this one is a favorite around here. It's in my VAC 700R. It has not left my VAC 700R since I did that. And I do have a full bottle of this one because my sample took a turn for the worst when I tried sampling it at one point and then just lost the whole bottle, or lost most of it to my desk. This one it's a lavender. I'll go with that. It's a lavender with some pink and some green undertones. You can see a little bit of that coming through in this little splotch over here. This is another one that really surprised me. I really love it. Like, I love purples, but this is the best. I think I kind of said in my first video, this one's kind of like Van Diemen's Spotted Sun Orchid, but on steroids, because it's got that really light lavender color with those extra undertones, and I really enjoy that. Last up, we have Sailor Ink Studio 450, which is also in a pen. It is currently in my TWSBI Eco Transparent Purple. It's an amazing combination, and I have a full bottle of this. We're just going to ignore the fact that I didn't grab enough Q-tips, and we're using the second side of this and trying to not get ink any more all over my fingers than they already are. We'll see how that goes. This one is a gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous vibrant purple. It's an amazing match for the TWSBI transparent purple. I don't have anything else to say about it other than I have fallen madly in love with this ink. Which should surprise no one. Purple is my color. This is the vibrant purple that I have wanted my entire life of fountain pen collecting, which is 2.5 years, maybe 3, 2.5. So this one, it's just, the other ones have slightly more color variation. This one's kind of like 130, where it's really just got some really nice shading with it, because it is really more of one solid color with not that many undertones. But again, it's a purple, so I'm immediately gonna like it. But it's a great purple, and it works really well. And I have no plans to de-ink my current pen with it. I plan to just kind of keep using that until something really grasps my attention, which I haven't been buying a lot of new ink, so I don't really know when that's gonna happen. But for right now, it's an amazing combination, and I love it. So here is my Sailor ink collection. To recap, we've got Sailor Manyo Haha, we have Ink Studio 252, Ink Studio 130, Ink Studio 237, Ink Studio 264, Ink Studio 150, and Ink Studio 450. So you see a theme. I'm more of a fan of cool toned colors. We've got some warms in here, but they're even not cool leaning warms. So you kind of can decide what you want with that. I highly recommend any of these inks. I think Ink Studio is an amazing line from Sailor. I think they do a really good job with their ink. So I cannot recommend this enough. So thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please think about liking, commenting, subscribing. Like my last video, I am going to put a link in the description to my Google Sheet that has all of the ink that I own and whether or not I've done full ink testing of it. So far, I think I've only done like 2 full ink tests. I wouldn't count swatching as ink tests. But if you would like to go in there and see what ink that I have and any ink that you would like to see me test or swab or try in a pen, please let me know, because I want to make videos that I want to make as well as videos that you all want to see. So hopefully we can find some middle ground with some ink that you all want to see me test. So once again, thank you for watching. Hope to see you next time. And until then, have a great day, pen friends, and I'll see you later.